So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Riverfront Library here in Yonkers, one of the most beautiful buildings that we have here in the city and where a lot of great things happen. Let me begin by thanking each and every one of you for being here today. And let me point out to you that today I am wearing the mask that represents our support for our autistic students. And I'm wearing it today because our children need to be back in school. It's the only place where they get all the support they need, especially those young people that are always dealing with significant challenges like our special education students. Today is a great afternoon because the mayor of the city and the trustees of the board have brought us all together. Not only the school system, but everyone in this learning community, in this city, to say that we will do whatever we can to return our children safely to our schools. So if you would indulge me, I'd like to introduce as many as I can possibly remember. So it's been a lot of work since March 2020. Well, certainly behind me we have the mayor of the city who has always supported our school district and our city in every way. We have the president of the board, Reverend Steve Lopez. We have two trustees of the Board of Education. We have Trustee Kevin Kikais and Trustee Lakeisha Bellamy Collins. We have the Commissioner of Police behind us. Thank you. We have the Commissioner of Finance. We have representatives of our City Council, the Education Chair, Ms. Tasha Diaz. We also have with us Councilman Rubo as well. We have with us, who else do we have? We have our incredible PTA here supporting us. Carmen Goodstein, the president of our PTA, and her entire executive board showing support for our students returning to our school. We have the Commissioner of Human Resources here with us. We have representatives from the libraries here. Thank you so much for being here and for all of the support that you have provided to our schools. We have my central office cabinet here that continues to work every single day to get our schools open. And I'm sure that I forgot some people, but Jerry and Christina will tell me who I forgot. So let me continue by saying that 6 months ago, our school buildings closed for our students. And certainly, our administrators, our teachers, our civil service employees have done everything possible to provide a sound basic education. But let me tell you one thing, nothing replaces having a teacher in front of a child. That is essential to the process. And it is because of that that the entire summer and the beginning of the fall for us, and for no one more than Mr. Carr in his facilities department, but we have spent our time preparing to bring our students back to our schools. On September 8th, we began with remote instruction. And let me tell you, it has been a phenomenal experience here in Yonkers. 92% of our students are attending remote instruction every single day. And it is working. However, our parents, our educators, our community leaders, our elected officials, they want to see our schools reopen for our children. And you know that I want this more than anything, because there's nothing more rewarding than having children in school. And we want to do it safely. So on Monday, October 5th, the Yonkers Public Schools will reopen its doors for our children. We are expecting, less than 8,000 children to be in our school. A district of about 26,000 children. So we understand that not every child will be in school. So parents, please understand that our commitment to this work will not stop until all children return to our schools. Understand that since we began this process, the city and the Yonkers Board of Education have invested close to $11 million in repairs. We have distributed to you a document that explains all of those expenses. So think about the fact that in ventilation, which speaks about HVAC and windows, we already spent close to $4 million. And those expenses will continue. Purchasing electronic devices, with the support of the City Council and the Mayor, we already spent close to $2.5 million. Buying HEPA filters, we already spent close to $200,000. So just know that these expenses are here, these expenses are real, and no one in this city have told me as the superintendent, stop spending, Edwin. Instead, they have said, Dr. Quezada, do everything you can to ensure that our students return safely. Before I ask the mayor to speak, let me just share with you that parents must understand that 100% remote and the hybrid environment will not be the same. Our teachers, who have been magical through this process, our administrators, who are working non-stop to ensure that our students are learning, and our civil service employees, they will do what's within their power to ensure that all students, those in hybrid environment, those in 100% remote instruction, and those that are in school every day are learning. And I know that they're going to figure it out. I know that their creativity, their ingenuity will do everything, they will do everything possible to ensure that everyone is learning. Now, what am I asking my parents on a final note? Parents, understand, you need to know in which track your child is in, whether it's A, B, C, or D. Parents, if you're taking yellow bus transportation, you must know by no later than this Saturday which stop your child will be taking the bus and at what time. We will be open in this district this entire weekend to ensure that we communicate that information to our families. Our administrators will be calling our parents to let them know about those bus stops, and we already mailed a card that tells you where your stop will be. What else do you need to know, parents? Parents, you must complete the attestation form before your child comes to school. That is not an option. The attestation form will be on your child's school website. You must complete that attestation form before your child comes to school. You, parents, you must be the first one to do a wellness check on your child. If your child has a temperature of 100 or more, your child cannot come to school. If your child is experiencing symptoms, your child cannot come to school. the safety of everyone in school, it is our collective responsibility. So please, however, parents, if you are not taking your child's temperature, we will be calling you, and at the same time, we will be using one of those devices, one of those scanners, to take your child's temperature. We purchased 60 of those. We have them in all of our schools. That's how prepared we are. The other thing that I'm going to ask our parents is a mask must be a mandatory part of your attire. That's not an option. And as I have said before, please individualize the mask for your children. Did we purchase 2 million of them already? Yes, we have. I got to take this off. Okay? I got to be able to communicate effectively with you. Did we purchase 2 million surgical masks already? Absolutely. Did we purchase N95? Yes. Did we purchase additional PPE? Absolutely, we've done that. It is part of the commitment that the mayor, the city council, and our Yonkers trustees have done. It is a collective commitment on behalf of opening our schools, and we are ready. Is it going to be perfect? You know what? I've been opening school for 22 years already. And it is never perfect. Okay? There are things that we always need to rectify as the process continues. So parents, community members, work with us to rectify whatever issue it is uncovered. Okay? This is about collaboration. This is about working together. Okay? My doctor, Dr. Rabadi, who works with us 24/7, is working on every single protocol available to ensure that our students are safe. So understand, everyone, this is a collective effort on behalf of our most precious possession, our children. Let's do it, and let's do it right, and let's do it safely. And with that, please welcome the mayor of the city, Mayor Mike Spano.
Thank you. Good morning, Dr. Quezada. Good morning, Council Members Diaz and Rubel, and to the trustees that are here, especially the president of the Board of Trustees, to the PTA. Never forget you guys. Listen, nothing's easy. We all know that. And nothing's been easy since we closed the schools in March. But that doesn't mean people haven't stopped working. We knew this day would come. We were hoping it'd be a day where every child would get the opportunity to go back to school. That's not to be had, at least not at this point. But it is a day where we can start to get our children back in the classrooms. I mean, think about that. I have 3 children, 2 of my children. One is 2 in college. One is taking his senior year remotely at home. I love having them home, but not in these circumstances. And my daughter is back at school full time. So that's the gamut that we're looking at. We made close to $12 million in investments in our schools and in the infrastructure and repairs of our schools to provide for better ventilation to those schools and to do whatever upgrades we need. Now, we all know that this is a school district that's in need of repair. I will tell you this, better today than it was in March. And that's important to remember. It's safer today than it was in March. And our children, the ones who will come back to school, the ones that will choose to be in the classroom, will get a good education. You know, we dealt with not just the infrastructure of the schools, we dealt with the technology, and Councilwoman Diaz is here. She's the chair of the, I said Sunday, I'll go back to my old days. She's the chair of the council's education committee, and she pushed real hard to provide for the funding necessary in last budget cycle when we did it. And every child who needs an electronic device will have one in this district. Every single child that needs one. And so I want to say thank you to Councilwoman Diaz, certainly Councilman Rubel, and the rest of the City Council. We have a lot of work to do. And like I said in the beginning of what my remarks here, nothing's easy. This hasn't been easy on anybody. And nothing's perfect. Because what we decide to do here today, CDC, Department of Health, or the powers to be, might have a different plan for us as we move forward. But as of today, our talent is back in the classrooms. In other words, our teachers are back in the classrooms. That's a good thing. That's a good first start, because you know why? That's how we can establish metrics. That's how we know we can establish where our baseline is with our kids. And now, with bringing our kids back in this manner and giving the respect to those who need to have their children continue to stay at home, we will have start in our first step, getting our kids back in the classroom. There's a lot of heroes in the world today. We don't know that. You know, when we started out with this, everyone was always talked about the medical profession. They are heroes. The nurses, the doctors, the body, good to see you. The next line of heroes that we have are our educators. They're out there. They're making it work under very difficult circumstances. It's got to be extremely frustrating for them, and I get it. I have 3 nieces who are teachers. I get it. It's not what they want to do. They don't want to go to a computer and teach distance. They want to teach and shape and mold the mind of a young person and give them a bright future. That's what they want. And so they're going through a tough time. So we have to give them a little bit of help. But remember that they are the heroes here, and that they are going to make this work. And we will survive or not based on our teachers. And I have full confidence in the teachers of this district, the administrators in this district, the support staff in this district, that our children are going to meet the expectations and go beyond. We can't control what happens out there, but we can control what happens here. And let's do it. Let's do it well. Let's stay together. Let's focus on what's important. Having our kids back to school is something I think the majority of people want. It's something that we ought to be doing. So I'm glad that the superintendent, along with your team, the trustees, have done that. And you know what? Let's move forward, and let's move onward, and let's move upward, because we have a lot of work to do. Eventually this COVID-19 will be gone. But for the moment, it's here. But eventually it will be gone. And we're going to learn from this experience. And at the same time, our kids are not going to lose their opportunity to get a good education. We can't have a blip in the screen for a year or two. That's not going to help them in their development. We need to get our children back into a learning environment. And that's what we're doing. And thank you, Dr. Quezada.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For some remarks, the President of the Board, Reverend Steve Lopez.
Thank you very much, Dr. Quezada. I'm joined by Trustee Kevin DeCase and Trustee Lakeisha Collins Bellamy, who serve on the board along with me and 7 other people. To be honest, we're tired. As a people, we're tired. Our teachers are tired. Our parents are tired. Everyone in the city is tired. But we've also been committed to doing whatever it takes to get the job done in the city, to keep our kids safe, to keep our teachers safe, to keep our staff safe. Most of all, one of the things that I'm very, very happy about is the fact that the people of Yonkers are resilient. We've built resilience since the very beginning of this. We've been resilient through other times, financial times, social times, and we managed to pull through. Our teachers are just dying to have our kids back. My 2 kids are dying to get back in the classroom, because we're individuals, as people, we need that fellowship. We need to be together. And the teachers would like to see, we have results. We have phenomenal results with our remote teaching process. But come Monday, Dr. Quezada and I are going to be visiting schools, and the teachers are going to have tangibility added to that teaching. They're going to see the kids that for so long they've missed and they love. And the kids are going to see the teachers and their friends that for so long they've missed and they love. The gap will begin to fill. I honestly believe that back in July we were 30% ready with our air ventilation in our schools. 30%. But thanks to Mr. Carr and his team, Dr. Quezada, and of course the finance, we have Commissioner of Finance, Mr. Mazuski here, who pays the bills. As of Monday, we were over 98% ready in our spaces. Maybe a classroom here, a classroom, but 98%. That shows the incredible and phenomenal work that our team has gone working with engineers, working with 9 different contractors to be able to make our rooms safe for our students. So we invite you to join us on Mondays before the schools. It's going to be a great day for Yonkers. Thank you and God bless you.
Education Chair, Councilwoman Tasha Diaz.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm actually honored to stand here as a product of Yonkers Public Schools. So when I got elected, I made sure that the committee that I took was education, because I feel like that's the most important part. That's one of the most important things that we have here, because the children are our future. So I made it my business to make sure that the children had the electronic devices that they need, as well as the mayor and the superintendent of schools. And Monday, I will also be with them at the schools handing out personal care kits for the children that do enter the school on Monday. And these kits will have antibacterial wipes. They will have the earbuds for remote learning, as well as hand sanitizer and masks that are fit especially for our children. Why did I go out and do that? Because these children are our future. And we are in unprecedented times right now. So I wanted to ease the fears of the parents when they're giving us our children to care for. We will not stop here. We will make sure that every corner is not unturned. I'm here to ensure you that you are putting your children in safe hands. We will work tirelessly to make sure that the safety and well-being of your children will be satisfied when they walk into Yonkers Public Schools on Monday morning. Thank you.
Councilperson John Rubel.
Thank you, Superintendent. And I want to start by saying thank you. Thank you to the superintendent. We are so fortunate in this district to have a superintendent who is committed to his staff, committed to every single student in this district. He has worked tirelessly, and we can't take that for granted. He has been very transparent with teachers, with faculty members, with administrators, with the city council, and with parents. He's worked with the PTA and the parents to tour more than 15 schools so that the parents can see how prepared we are and that we're ready to open the schools back up. I also want to thank the school's chief physician, who has worked tirelessly to prepare for Monday and to work very closely to make sure that the schools are ready. Because I know, he's my physician, so I know he would have turned around and said, if the schools are not ready, they are not ready to open. And we would have had a delay. But they are ready to open. And I'm happy to send my son back to school next Thursday. Yesterday he broke my heart when he was sitting in front of the computer and he said, Dad, I don't want to learn on the computer anymore. I don't want to be on the computer anymore. I want to see my friends. And he's 5 years old. He's in kindergarten, and it was not prompted. But he's doing well on the computer, and he's able to mute himself, unmute himself, engage with the teacher. And for a teacher who's been teaching for 27 years in the same school, she took it upon herself. She learned the technology. She's engaging with the kids, and our teachers and our faculty members in the Yonkers Public School System is prepared. And we are teaching our students. We're not going to let this pandemic bring our students behind. So I want to thank everyone. Like I started off, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank everyone for having the commitment to our children, to having the transparency and commitment to the school district, and I look forward to getting the schools open on Monday. Thank you.
And no one has been more supportive throughout this process than our incredible PTA and the executive board that is now led by someone who has no issue telling us if we are not ready. I can tell you that. So please welcome our PTA president, Carmen Goodstein.
my board who's here with me now. The Yonkers Council PTA has advocated for and continues to advocate for putting children first and providing the choice to parents whether they wish to send their children to school or keep them home for remote instruction. We are excited that having that choice is coming to realization on Monday. And that's because of the hard work of the teachers, the administrators, and the district working collaboratively towards a single goal, to provide well-rounded education to our children. So thank you. We need to keep in mind that this will not be a smooth transition, but one filled with obstacles and hurdles combined with anxiety and frustration. This is a new world for our teachers, our parents, and most importantly, it's new to our children, our babies. Our learning community must work together to overcome whatever challenges we face, and the Yonkers Council PTA is here to help in any way possible to make hybrid instruction a success. We have no choice but to make this a success for our children. We are extremely blessed to have amazing teachers in Yonkers. These individuals work tirelessly to adjust and readjust to teaching platforms they never expected to experience. They took crash courses, stayed up late, worked weekends so they can provide the best continued, comprehensive, synchronous and asynchronous instruction to our children. For that, the Yonkers Council PTA is grateful. On a personal note, my husband, a paramedic, went to work almost every day during the quarantine. It was a level of anxiety our family never experienced before. We feared for his health and well-being every day. What kept me grounded as a wife and mother and prevented me from breaking down was focusing on the numbers that the New York Department of Health reported each day. I focused on the facts. We as a city have suffered enough and have had to contend with our own anxieties and fears. Our community deserves facts, the who, the what, the where, the when, and the why, so that we can continue to make informed decisions. Focusing on the facts is what the Yonkers Council PTA is committed to do here. It is the only way each of us can make an informed decision for our family and for our children. Not on fear, but on facts. Thank you, everyone, and please remind your children to continue to wear masks, social distance, and regularly wash their hands. As adults, let's be the one to set that example.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you for your courage and your passion for this work. Really appreciate it. Certainly, on Monday morning, traditionally we transport about 12,000 children. On Monday morning, we're going to be transporting about 5,000 students. That's all we're going to be transporting. However, we are putting on the road 550 vehicles. Okay? We never had that many vehicles on the roads of Yonkers. And this work, has to be done in collaboration. And the police commissioner has always been there with us, and I know that he will be ready to ensure that our buses are safely moving around the city of Yonkers, because it is about our children. Just share some remarks, Commissioner John Mulder.
Thank you, Superintendent. As he says, we're going to have a very busy Monday morning. I would submit to anyone who has had grade school age kids in the past or currently that it's a little bit chaotic the first day of school, the first weeks of school, to get the kids back into the school routine. Even more so now because we've had such a long delay of getting back to school, but it's such a great feeling to be able to say we have a first day of school coming. I think it makes everybody happy and relieved. The Yonkers Police Department will be ready, working with the Board of Education. It doesn't happen by accident. It all starts at the top, and I have to give Mayor Spano all the credit in the world for that. Mayor Spano's created so many systems of communication and designed so much collaborative different pathways where we all work together intra-government, and this situation is no different. So we will be working, we always work very closely with the Board of Education. We always work very closely with Superintendent Quezada, so we'll make sure that we're completely prepared because, in truth, as Superintendent Quezada said so well, this is a collaborative responsibility. There's a collective responsibility we need here. We need cooperation from parents. We need cooperation from police officers. We need cooperation from the teaching profession, so that as we get back and we start to find different ways to make this all work, there's going to be times where people will be a little impatient. But if we can all just understand where we are, where we were, and where we're going to end up, I think we're going to be in a very great spot. So thank you.
And to close, unless someone tells me differently, Dr. Ramadi, come and share some thoughts about all of the great things that we need to do to ensure that everyone is safe.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Superintendent Quezada and Mayor Spano. I remember where we were in March 15th, when we were all home, quarantined, and where we are now. Just like the commissioner said, remember where we were and where we are now. Big difference. Reopening schools was difficult, was challenging, but I welcome it. I'm working tirelessly with my staff and with the Board of Education administrators to make sure things are safe for our children. When I say our children, that's my children also. I'm homegrown here in Yonkers. My family works at the Board of Education, administrators, teachers. I have nephews and nieces that are students. The last thing I would ever want is to endanger them. So reopening school with a model protecting them in a hybrid fashion was the safest and best method. We'll start Monday. Like Dr. Quezada said, it's not going to be perfect. We're ready and up for the challenge. Practicing the 3 W's, I stress over and over again. Wearing a mask, washing your hands, and watching for large crowds and avoiding them. If we do those 3 things, we will conquer this and move forward. If we don't, we're going to get back to March 15th very quickly. So parents, please help us. Answer the questionnaire in the morning. If your child is sick, or if you are sick, if you don't feel well, do not come to school. That's selfish and irresponsible. Second, Dr. Quezada spoke about the kiosks. We also have handheld thermometers also for the other entrance points. It's going to be organized. Anyone who tests positive for a temperature will be directed to the nurses' station, where we have built isolation tables and seats. We have assigned a liaison at every community hospital that is responsible for a phone call from my nurses to either pick a student up or a staff member, or to help us make a decision on who should be tested. Next week, Dr. Quezada and I are working on unveiling a mobile testing truck that will be able to move to each school and test within 15 minutes who's positive. We also will do a 24-hour confirmatory test when needed. Like I said, we're up for the challenge. We're ready to move forward. Practice the 3 W's. My children go to the school. Your children go to these schools. Our families go to these schools. This is our town. Let's set a precedent for the rest of the country on how we do it here in Yonkers. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramadi. So there you go. The commitment in this city is incredible. I don't think you've seen this in any city in New York or even in the country. So with that, I'll open it for questions. Hopefully the question will be for the mayor or someone else, because I spoke enough already. But we'll take some. Okay?
You mentioned PPE, you mentioned the millions of dollars spent on ventilation systems and on the HEPA filters. How do you respond to the open letter that was sent to families by the Yonkers Federation of Teachers regarding their concerns that they feel they're not 100% safe?
Thank you, and I appreciate that question. Let me first tell you that the district has an excellent relationship with the leaders of the Yonkers Federation of Teachers, and the leaders of our civil service employees, and the leaders of our Yonkers Council of Administrators. Let me also share with you that just like they have apprehensions about reopening our school, so do I. You know, I was telling my principals this morning that I today feel the same way I felt when I first opened a school in 2003, when I was opening Emerson Middle School for the first time as a building principal. So I was scared, I was concerned, I was worried, I did not believe that I was up to the challenge. Okay, but you know what? What made me feel good is that I knew that I needed to be able to answer every question that came to my mind. And I also knew that I was not automatically saying to everyone, I am 100% ready. Okay? I accept that challenge. I accept those apprehensions that come to us as we deal with this. However, if we do it together, okay, if everyone recognizes everything that we have purchased, everything that we have done, if everyone sees how clean our schools are, if everyone accepts how much work our teachers and our administrators have done, then we are going to be okay. And our parents know that. Our parents know that. Because guess what? Our parents are in constant communication with the teachers. So I know that they will come to me and say, my teacher just told me that they are not ready. They're not telling me that. Okay? They are not telling me that. So you know what? Just like I rely on the feedback from the teachers and the administrators, I also rely on the feedback of our customers. We work for them.
Is there any requirement that students be tested before they attend school, or is it just the questionnaire?
It's the questionnaire and the wellness check. There are no specific requirements about students testing themselves before they come to our schools. Daily. You know, the executive order requires that the questionnaire be completed daily, which is why we are making it as easy as we possibly can for our families. It's on your school website. There's going to be a QR code that you can just scan the code and the form comes up. So we are using the technology in every sense right now. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, do we know how many positive cases are in Yonkers at the current time?
About 7,700. You know?
Total.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Total about 100.
Right now, there's about, last we get from daily, it's about, active cases, it's like, about 100.
Yeah, that's but in total, we've had, like I said, just over 7,700 cases in the City of Yonkers. You know, and we're holding on. There's been a small uptick, but I think everyone's seeing that, and we're watching it, and we're taking our minding our the CDC, obviously the Department of Health, and we're talking to them and directing us, and we're moving. Listen, this is a district that has been, and I just want to say this real quick, that has been chronically underfunded, right? And yet it has got the best graduation rate of any school district in the Big 5-6. And the reason I say that is, you know what? Don't tell me we're not ready. This district is ready because if you think about it, there's going to be obstacles, there are going to be bumps in the road, there are going to be many different things that are going to come our way. But what's the alternative? The alternative is that we continue to let our kids stay at home. For what? This is the best I think we can offer, and I think it's the right direction. We will have obstacles, and everyone needs to know that. But we will get over those obstacles, and we'll be fine. And that's just my opinion. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, but when a medical doctor tells me something different, I'm certainly going to listen to my doctor. But up to that point, I'm going to listen to my superintendent, and he believes, I agree with him, that we are ready to go. And let's get back to the business of educating our kids.
And I think it's important to underscore the needs for funding for the Yonkers Public Schools. So as part of the message that you're putting out there, please do not forget that the federal government is responsible for supporting our school districts. Okay? The HEROES Act must be approved. Funding needs to come to the City of Yonkers. Funding for capital projects needs to come to the City of Yonkers. Our schools, on average, are 85 years old. 85 years old. That's how old they are. So we need to make the necessary repairs to our school, and we need the federal government to act on the HEROES Act. In addition to that, when you ask about the number of cases, since we opened schools on September 1st to our staff, we bring to schools over 3,600 individuals every single day. in addition to consultants and other individuals that work in our school. So far, we have only been informed of 16 cases of our staff. That is less than 0.5%. Okay? So our numbers are okay for reopening, and that's extremely important for everyone to understand. Questions?
You say the federal government is going to hopefully help you out with funding, but should residents of this town expect some sort of sticker shock when they open their school tax bills in the next year or two based on all the money you're spending?
I guess that'll be me. Paying my taxes. You know what? We're looking at some dire consequences to COVID-19 on our budget. And remember, here in Yonkers, being one of the 5 dependent school districts in New York State, right? So we have one tax bill, not like in other communities where you have education tax bill and a municipal tax bill. We're one tax bill. And, you know, so our economically sensitive revenues are down. There is the threat looming over our heads of a near 20% both education aid and municipal aid from New York State. There is the inaction of Washington. So all that is playing, giving us all a lot of aja. But you know what? Moving forward, taking a day at a time. Will next year's budget see huge increases? You know what? I don't want to say that just yet. What I want to say is that we have a lot of work to do before we get there. When we get there, we'll do what we need to do to obviously provide for the services that this community needs. But in the meantime, we are advocating right now, advocating for more money from Washington, more money from Albany, and obviously working with all of our departments to be lean and mean and to cut our budgets as low as we can in order to offset any large impact we're going to have because of COVID-19.
Ms. Goodstein, let me ask you a question. Just getting back to the letter that was sent by the unions, these families, you don't agree with their assessment that the school is not ready?
No, we don't agree with their assessment. We've toured 15 schools as a Yonkers Council PTA. Of the 15, 6 schools were with the YFT.
Yes.
And we see it differently. Look, I walk into a school, I ask myself, will I send my child there? It's my child. Somebody, you know, my own daughter who I gave birth to, who I will protect with my life. That is the standard I put when I walk into a school to determine whether or not it's ready. They're ready. They're ready. Nothing's perfect. And I get that. And I've accepted that as a parent. But that was my choice to accept as a parent. If I didn't feel I was ready, I would keep my child home from remote. But the point is that when I walk in, I look at it and say, would I be comfortable sending my daughter to this school? And if the answer is yes, then I believe it's ready. Everything they've done makes me feel comfortable to send my child to school, and she will be starting school on Monday. She's excited. Thank you.
Anything else? No?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Superintendent,
Thank you.
can we talk in Spanish?
Sí, señor.
Thank you.